Alright, what's up, dudes? So it is early in the morning as usual, and we're training our third day in a row. It's 8:04. We're about to hit our pull day. My battery's a little bit, or my camera's a low battery, like 14%. So I'm just gonna go in there and start warming up, hit the pull-ups, and yeah, typical day. I've been training 3 days on, 1 day off, which is getting a little bit, I don't know, not overwhelming, but it's definitely hard to recover from. So I'm gonna try to stay at the gym a little more, but tomorrow's definitely gonna be a day off. So today we lift and drive, and I'm gonna see how these pull-ups go. So 7 sets of 3 we did last time. Let's just keep it up. Let's keep it up. All right, guys, what's going on? Just did I don't know if it was a 10 or 15 minute Q&A. Right now on the couch, so go ahead and skip the workout if you're more interested in that. But if you want to watch me talk about a little bit about my back training and specifically bicep tendonitis, which I covered briefly in the Q&A, I want to actually make this video more geared towards that, at least for the training portion, because bicep tendonitis is very common, and one of my new trainees actually has elbow tendonitis, so we're trying to work around that and figure out what we need to pull back on and get him healthy so he can keep making gains in the pressing department, in the pulling department, which the arm gains will follow as well. So I've had bicep tendonitis. Like I said, I answered it very briefly in the Q&A, but I'm gonna talk about it in depth here. I had bicep tendonitis when I started lifting weights. I used to play golf for middle school and high school, and I definitely got an overuse injury and inflammation in my elbow, and I guess my bicep tendon, actually it's right here where it attaches, so if I do lots of isolation work or hammer curls, I'll get a pretty sharp pain right here that kind of runs up and down my arm, and it's debilitating. If I go to do a pull-up, I feel like it's gonna tear off the bone, and that's something I dealt with since the day I walked into the gym. And it's affected my bench press, my pull-ups, and my curls ever since. But as you can see now, I'm pulling myself up in the gym weighing at around 206 to 210 pounds for 7 sets, full range of motion, which you can see here, all the way up with a neutral grip, as high as I can pull. Basically, at least the first few reps are as high as I can physically pull. And obviously there's a ton of bicep work, tons of tension going through your tendons and inserting into both the elbow and the upper arm. And I've been perfectly fine. And the most important part of me fixing my elbow tendonitis was to stop doing so much bicep curling, specifically hammer curls. But as soon as I inflamed it with a hammer curl or a reverse curl, any type of curling or pulling really made it super hot and super achy. So if you guys have bicep or tricep tendonitis, which my client has tricep tendonitis, you really need to lay off the isolation work, because every time I stopped doing bicep curls, after maybe 5 to 7 days, I could always go into the gym and do some rows, do shrugs, maybe do some lat pull down. Pull-ups may have been out of the question just because of my body weight, and I was always able to go back and at least train back after a week. But if I tried to train arms, it would always trigger my tendonitis. So I don't know if I was using full range of motion all that time, but I obviously was lifting weights just as heavy as I am now, and this was 5, 6 years ago up until now, when I clearly wasn't quite as strong or at least as healthy. So if you're experiencing bicep tendonitis, definitely stop your isolation work for at least 5 to 7 days, and take a break off pulling if you have bicep tendonitis specifically. If that day you were training a pull day or a back day and you felt it and it was hot anywhere in your arms, definitely take a day off or 2, maybe train legs, take another day off, and then go for a push day. If you're pretty pain-free on the bench, sometimes I feel it when I used to feel it when it was inflamed. I would even feel it on the bench. Now I never do, because I never let it get that bad. If you push pain-free, you're benching pain-free, those types of things, then you're good to go to pull. If you feel your biceps on pushing, you still need to recover more before you can do an all-out pull day or any bicep curls. So feel out how your bicep tendonitis is after about 5 to 7 days of laying off pulling. On your push day, see how it feels 3 to 5 days after taking that break, and try to make sure that you're pushing pain-free, benching pain-free, all those types of things. Then you're good to train back, but definitely lighten the weight. If you're doing lat pull downs with 150 pounds or you're doing bodyweight pull-ups, do something assisted and make sure your grip is neutral. If you're doing wide grip, I'd say that's gonna put more strain here. And if you're doing underhand grip, that's also additional strain on your biceps. So try not to pull in an underhand fashion, do everything pronated, and go do your pull day. Once you can go through a pull day, you know, as strong as you usually are, pain-free, then you're good to go with the isolation work. And the key with isolation work, guys, is not to do a lot of volume and do not have an arm day. If you have bicep tendonitis, forget about having an arm day, have a pull day. And on that pull day, when you're pain-free, throw in something like I'm doing right now. Full range of motion dumbbell curls. Do not rotate or supinate anything while you're curling. The bicep has one motion, it's to lift up and go down. Your supinating and pronating muscles are forearm muscles and maybe the brachioradialis, I'm not sure on that, but the two biceps heads start here and insert here. So all they do is this. So if you're pronating and supinating and getting fancy, odds are you're gonna inflame your bicep tendon because you're changing the direction of the weight, you're in the motion, changing where you're holding the grip. Not a good idea. So do everything natural, neutral grip curls when you can pull effectively. So again, if you're injured on your pull day or your biceps, take 5 to 7 days off pulling, forget about isolation. Do a chest day in between that break. If you feel good on your push day, train your back lighter, and when you're at full strength, bring in the isolation work again, but bring it in light, 10-pound curls with full range of motion. And definitely just do one exercise at first. I would recommend the standing regular dumbbell curl, full range of motion. Incline curl can be pretty, put a lot of tension there. And bring those in for 2 sets, next time 3 sets, and you should be good to go. But if you're doing 8 sets of arms, it's gonna always injure you or re-injure you. So try that, guys. Peace.
Perfect. And we are on our way because, as you guys see here, oil filter, tire rotation, and again, I need an oil change. But no, we're not at Hilton Head anymore. We are in Colorado. So today's an off day from training. I got a little bit of a late start. It's 8:30. Seatbelt. So I'm gonna go head to Subaru and see how long this takes me. They opened at 7, so I was supposed to kind of be there at 7 o'clock. That the morning didn't go as smoothly as planned, so we're getting on our way now. And so far so good with training 3 days on, 1 day off. I've been doing push with arms, squat day, pull with arms, and overall that's felt great. It's definitely pretty high volume and pretty frequent, but a lot of people train that way and I think they get away with it for a while. But last thing I want to do is get injured, so I'm not sure if I'm going to maintain that forever. Maybe I'll take an extra day off here and there, or this weekend maybe I'll take a day off randomly between those 3 days. So I do recommend it, but you really got to watch your recovery, and you can't do it forever and progress forever. Definitely need deloads, definitely need days off here and there, so one of those two is going to have to happen. But let's go to Subaru and see what this wait time is going to be like. 8:30 a.m. on a day off on a Thursday. So estimated wait time 120 minutes. Oh shit. That's my ride right there. So I said it should be about an hour and a half, and it was 88 bucks for air or oil change, oil filter, and tire rotation. Pretty good deal coming from BMWs. Alright guys, want to walk in 58 minutes they did the oil change, filter, rotation, which is great. So I'm going to finish up Paul's new program here. He's going to switch over from a 4-day split to more of my training style for the next 12 weeks. So I'm excited to see what happens for him, and I'm excited to drive because it's overcast. So I'm going to do this really quick and then get on the road.
Nice ass dealer, and tell me what other car you can get for 27 grand that looks that good, all-wheel drive. Subarus are awesome, diamond in the rough. Definitely starter pack car of Denver though. Proper. Like a good day driving Lyft when you get straight to the airport on your first ride.
Let's go.
And now we are headed back to the other terminal, the West Terminal, to pick up someone else. So those are the best days, guys, the best days. And day off, gonna do some cardio today. And yeah, Subaru was epic. Driving today has been great, and the weather is beautiful. 51 degrees, overcast, little snow action everywhere. Can't complain, cannot complain. Let's go pick this. So it is 4:20 and I finally just got home from finishing a couple of drives, which went really well. Hit my cap for the day. So now we have now till I go to sleep to work on a video, hopefully answer some questions. But what I'm gonna do today on my off day from training, I had to go to Subaru as early as possible. So getting home after meal 3. And with that said, I'm gonna have coffee and do cardio. So I'll probably walk as fast as I can for 15 to 20 minutes and come home and hop on the computer and do a little more work. So good day so far. Actually a great day, just, you know, just lucky today. Let's do this cardio. All right guys, what's going on? So today was my off day from training, which means I did a little bit of cardio, did a lot of driving, edited a video, worked with clients a little bit while I was waiting for my car's oil change. But today what I'm gonna do is just scroll on the latest comments and I guess do a little impromptu Q&A and answer everything off the top of my head. I'm not gonna edit because I don't wanna spend time editing or cutting stuff, so I'll answer what I think I can answer correctly and give my, I guess, opinion or just state facts that I think are true on whatever topics that we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and record the screen here and get started. Someone says, how is your skin so unresponsive to hormones? Did you ever run Accutane or just genetics? I was a very late bloomer, meaning I didn't really hit puberty till I was much older, maybe 14, 15, something like that, maybe a little younger, but I was very not hairy, I didn't have much body odor, didn't have oily skin, and acne is also something I never had. So all those traits that a lot of young teenagers hit who have aggressive puberty, you know, growing lots of hair, growth spurts, getting more muscular, things like that, deepening of the voice, and acne, things that are kind of hormonally based somewhat. I really have no issues with all those types of things. So for me, it's fully genetic. I will get some acne here and there. I mean, it's really not much to see, but I can pick at it. And yeah, it's also dose dependent. If you run a moderate to low dose of anything, you're gonna be perfectly fine. If you have really bad acne already as a teen and you run a low to moderate dose, well, just imagine what your acne was like as a teenager and maybe even add to that. So that's just normal. There's nothing you can do about it. And obviously good hygiene is good. Maybe using some dial soap on your back, changing your bed sheets every night or every other night, or your t-shirt. That's what I'd recommend. If I am really bad with my hygiene, I'll notice it gets worse, but with standard good hygiene, I get away just fine. Someone said you should try sitting more back in your hole as you descend into the squat and do a hybrid. Well, I don't do hybrid squatting anymore because I think hybrid is a compromise between high bar and low bar, and I think low bar is garbage for your spine health, your overall body health. So to do something that's in between something good and something bad is just decent, and I honestly think high bar Olympic style is very healthy. The problem is that people will ego lift with a high bar squat and you'll get injured just as easily as ego lifting with a low bar squat. There's a lot of comments and not too many questions, but we'll see if there's funny comments or something that I can really give my 2 cents on. Dude, I respect you, but please stop referring to anorexia as an exercise and diet regime gone too far. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Anorexia nervosa, I believe, is more of a mental disorder, but you probably have to be at a certain body fat to be anorexic. Like, there's no 14% body fat anorexics. Maybe there are, I'm not a doctor or psychologist. What I refer to anorexia in kind of a practical term for those of us that maybe aren't fully psychologically disordered is someone who's 7% body fat and they don't like to gain weight. They lift weights and they want abs and they will not gain fat no matter whether they stall in progress or regress, or they're eating like a 12-year-old girl and they're a 20-year-old man. I consider that so sort of like a bodybuilding style anorexia. So maybe it's not the traditional anorexia nervosa, but if people want to come on YouTube, make YouTube comments and ask me through Instagram for help on their diet. If they're too lazy to go to a doctor or they think that an Instagrammer is gonna give them the opinion they need, then I'm gonna tell them I think you're anorexic, go to a doctor and figure it out. Elliot Hulse fired you, wait, what? I'll go ahead and link the video here. It's a Ronnie Coleman thing. Right when I started my YouTube channel, Elliot Hulse, one of the biggest fitness YouTubers of all time at the time, put up a video saying he wanted an intern. So I wrote him a statement saying I'll quit my job and move to Tampa to work for you, and I sent him a video of me deadlifting, and I just learned how to make YouTube videos like that summer, the summer I moved. He hired me, or invited me up to Tampa for the position, and after training one night with him and his trainees as clients, he called me in the next morning and said, and I quote, "We don't need another coach around here. we were looking for an intern, we have to let you go. And he was actually really nice. I was heartbroken and freaked out, but he said some things to me. He's like, listen, you're passionate. You've already made it in this industry in your own way. He's like, we have a small facility here. We don't have room for another Chris or I, is what he said. His coworker was Chris. He said, we don't have room for a third coach. We just need interns. So I don't really know if they were just trying to do kids favors or just trying to get some, some cheap help, or I really don't know what they wanted. But I went in there wanting to be like him. He was my role model. And for me to walk into his small gym and be like, hey, I'm here to do what you're doing, he was like, we can't have that. So I never tooted my own horn and said like, oh, I was too good for the position. They didn't want a coach, they wanted an intern. So that's on my YouTube channel, and that's how I gained my first few hundred subscribers by a video that we made together. So this guy, I hate to be a troll, but you're honestly so full of crap. You're on gear and you're trying to get past your natural limit, but can tell you're absolutely nowhere near it. When I started working out, I was 133 pounds and I got to 180 naturally. So after 5 years of training, I realized my natural limit was close to that 180 pounds. Maybe it was 185, maybe 190. And now with what I've been taking for multiple years on end, having competed, having powerlifted, having benched 2 days a week for a year straight, I know where my limit is on what I'm taking, and I would assume that that's past my natural limit. So if you see someone with terrible genetics and they've been lifting for a while and they look okay, that might be they're pretty close to their natural limit. It's very objective. Certain people are very, very different. My natural limit is maybe 50 pounds less of muscle than Phil Heath, but this guy's telling me that he knows my natural limit. So honestly, it doesn't really matter what this guy says. I respect his opinion, but he didn't grow up and lift with me for 11 years since I was 16 or 17 years old. So that's what he thinks, that's fine. Okay, come on, man. He probably wants to get strength too.